Hello, I'm Tim Krul. Welcome to Norwich City Central.
Hello, everybody. Lewis, Norwich City Central, and welcome back to another match preview. It's felt like a while since I've done a match preview, but I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you had a festive Christmas and a festive New Year. Hopefully, you didn't dwell on Norwich City as a football club too much because it's a ridiculously challenging period for Norwich at the moment, and there's lots of division and real questions have to be asked. But I think what's disappointed Norwich City fans the most is that we're still only 3 points away from 17th, which is utterly bonkers. It really is. But we're still only 3 points away from 17th. Of course, teams have played a disproportionate amount of games, but Norwich is still in it. And let's hope coming into the second half of the season, there's no COVID crisis, not just in Norwich, but of course, cases go down. And let's hope Norwich City players, start to return from injury, which looking at Dean Smith's press conference is likely when we get back on track. But this is a match preview against Charlton, and we're also going to be talking about some of the January transfer speculation. But if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe and let's talk a little bit about Norwich. Before we talk about the Charlton game, let's talk about the January transfer window and the recruitment very quickly in general. I mean, we could go on for a half an hour discussion about the recruitment, but quite simply, I think a lot of Norwich City fans, definitely including myself, were happy with the business. And also, when you initially have transfer business, you don't want to be too negative. You can't be too negative. You've got to get behind the players, and a lot of the players did look good on paper, but there were a few unknown risks, and Norwich City quite simply had to score goals going into this Premier League season. That was our main concern 2 years ago, and we took risks, particularly with someone like Josh Sargent and some other players, and it hasn't worked out. And the recruitment, considering it's spent £65 million, has been abysmal. Only 8 Premier League goals, and going into this January transfer window, it does not look like Norwich City are going to sign anyone. Simply, they don't have the money, which raises other questions as well. But in terms of outgoing players, I would expect to see maybe one outgoing, and the one most likely is Todd Cantwell. Now, Newcastle are interested in Todd Cantwell. And look, Todd Cantwell has always been someone who's, I think, been linked away over the last 18 months. But I would say this is probably the most likely transfer window. Todd Cantwell's performances have been awful this season. No goals, no assists. They've been absolutely awful. Disinterested. Daniel Farker completely froze Todd Cantwell out the team. Wasn't even getting on the bench. And a lot of fans took issue with that with Daniel Farker. But under Dean Smith, I don't think he's completed 90 minutes of football. And, it's clearly an issue there. And I would expect to see Todd Cantwell get moved on. And with Newcastle, with their enormous amount of investment, paying £10 to £15 million is something that'll be easy for them. I think they'd probably want to sign Todd Cantwell. I'm certainly interested in him, and I think from a Norwich City perspective, you've got to take it. So from all parties, if Newcastle put in a £15 million bid, I think it now would be sensible time to, say goodbye to Todd Cantwell, who's been brilliant for Norwich. Get in that first half of the Premier League season 2 years ago was magnificent and was great in the Championship. Should always be fondly remembered. And he has had probably a disproportionate amount of not hatred but criticism, similar to the Murphy twins, and some of that's maybe been justified, maybe some of it hasn't. But I think it's probably the right time for Todd to leave, and Norwich City have got to reinvest and they've got to score goals. I mean, if you look at that Norwich City team, five Puki scored 5 goals, Omar Bamidele 1, Hanley 1, and Norman 1. None of those players played against Crystal Palace, which shows the real problems at Norwich. But in terms of the FA Cup game, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Sometimes Norwich City will have 2 weeks without any fixtures, and there'll be a COVID crisis. And other times, coming into this week now, Norwich have got three games in 6 days, and the FA Cup one, of course, is the one which isn't going to be prioritised, but it will be a good opportunity for Norwich, and Norwich have to take it very seriously because they're playing a League One team, and this could be a real cup upset. And I'm always of the belief that you want to go into every game and win it, and losing is no good for anyone. If Norwich lose to a League One outfit, then it's going to be serious concerns, and it's going to completely have a really negative effect on the camp going into West Ham away midweek and then Everton at home. These are big games coming up for Norwich in the Premier League. Of course, Charlton in League One, 13th in the table, having an okay season. Charlton have had a lot of issues off the pitch, which are starting to get resolved in some ways, but Charlton are a long way off in terms of quality, in terms of challenging for that top 6 this season. They of course beat Ipswich a few weeks ago, which isn't hard to be honest, which caused a lot of Ipswich chaos. I think it was the day Paul Cook lost his job. But yeah, Charlton really seriously pose a risk to this Norwich City team at the moment, and I mean there'll be videos on it, and there'll be lots of discussion afterwards. But I really don't know how this Norwich City team in the last few weeks have gone so downhill. Particularly before that, Norwich City were doing really well under Dean Smith at his start. So I honestly think now it's just time for a real fresh start. Of course, we did really well under that Dean Smith first period. Players are coming back. Timo Pukki, Max Aarons, who had short-term injuries, are back. The main one is Milot Rashica, who's probably been the best player since Dean Smith's come in. He's coming back. Not everyone's back. Lucas Rupp, who's probably been our best midfielder under Dean Smith, which says it all, is still injured. Omabamidele's still injured. And of course, Norman is the big one who's injured. But a few players are starting to come back, which is really good to see. Grant Hanley's another who's coming back. So, yeah, I think if you eliminate the COVID situation and you eliminate the injuries starting to come back, it gives Norwich City a much better chance. But quite simply, the last few weeks have been abysmal, and Norwich City hadn't scored a goal in December, which I think is five games without scoring in the Premier League. I think is a record. And Dean Smith lost 5 games as well. So yeah, that December month was a real killer after a really promising November. But with injuries, players coming back from injuries, and hopefully COVID cases going down, let's hope Norwich City can get back to their best, because they're still in it in the Premier League. And to be honest, the FA Cup game against Charlton is one that Norwich City should be going to try and win. I'm looking forward to going to the Valley. It's a good away day, isn't it? Charlton, a really nice stadium, an old stadium, very historic, and good memories and bad memories for Norwich City. Of course, Norwich City got relegated down to League One. What's that, 11, 12 years ago now, which, fingers crossed, touch wood, is not going to happen again. But in terms of what Norwich City's performances at the moment, and some of the team selections when we lost a few of our big players, we look like a mid-table outfit, and there's no one really you haven't got a Buendia, you haven't got a Maddison, there's no real star quality, which is a worry. But also some good days at Charlton. I think we got promoted from League One as well with that Nelson goal. In terms of a score prediction, I really don't know. I haven't even got a prediction XI for this one, because it's really difficult to know what Norwich City team are going to turn up at the moment. It's been so disjointed, so many injuries, and I know some players are coming back, but it has been so disjointed. In terms of a score prediction, I'm going to go very optimistic. I'm going to see Norwich City win a football game, and wait for it, score a goal as well. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Norwich win with Milot Rashica. And who else can score a goal in this Norwich City team? Billy Gilmore, let's say he gets his first Norwich goal. But I'm looking forward to this game. Let's hope Norwich City can get some winning momentum back. And yeah, let's hope going into those next Premier League games, particularly the Everton game, which is massive at Carrow Road, we have more confidence and give ourselves a fighting chance. Thank you for watching this match preview. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.